Something important happened to the AI industry between April and May 2026. In April, the headlines were dominated by enormous investments, global competition, new models, job cuts, chips, data centers, and the escalating technology race between the United States and China. Just 1 month later, the conversation had changed. In May, the biggest questions were no longer who has the most powerful model, who is investing the most money, or which country is winning the AI race. The questions became, how do we govern AI? How do we audit it? How do we procure it responsibly? And who is accountable when it goes wrong? In this video, I'll explain what changed, why it matters, and what organizations should do next. Hello, I'm Stanley. Throughout April and May 2026, I published a daily series of AI updates, covering developments across the UK and the wider global AI market. Looking back across those updates reveals a very clear shift. April was about AI expansion and disruption. May was about AI governance and operational control. That may sound like a subtle change, but it represents an important stage in the maturity of AI. The industry appears to be moving from asking what AI can do to asking how AI can be safely operated at scale. Section 1. April was about the global AI race. April's coverage was broad, fast-moving, and highly international. One of the most dominant themes was the growing geopolitical competition around AI. There was extensive focus on the United States, China, Europe, Japan, Korea, and other global markets. DeepSeek's work on models optimized for Huawei chips highlighted the risk of the global AI market splitting into different technology ecosystems. At the same time, the scale of AI investment was extraordinary. Microsoft announced major investment in Japanese AI infrastructure. Google was reportedly considering investment of up to $40 billion in Anthropic. And Anthropic committed more than $100 billion to Amazon Web Services over 10 years. These were not ordinary technology investments. They were strategic bets on who would control the models, infrastructure, platforms, and computing capacity behind the next phase of AI. Section 2. April also highlighted disruption. April's tone was not only optimistic, it was also disruptive and, at times, unsettling. There were reports of companies restructuring their workforces to finance AI investment. Oracle was reported to be considering significant job cuts as part of its AI pivot. Meta and Microsoft were also associated with workforce reductions as they redirected resources towards AI infrastructure and development. Public concern was becoming more visible as well. Younger people were questioning whether their future careers would remain secure. Students were looking for so-called AI-proof degrees, and surveys suggested growing skepticism about the effect AI might have on employment and society. AI was being framed not simply as another technology upgrade, but as a force capable of changing industries, careers, and international power relationships. Section 3. April's safety debate focused on models. April also contained important AI safety stories, but the emphasis was often on individual models and their capabilities. One example was Anthropic reportedly delaying or halting a model release because of safety concerns. The underlying question was, is this model too capable, too risky, or insufficiently tested to release? There was also growing concern about AI in defense, cybersecurity, and national security. Stories included AI's possible involvement in nuclear command systems and disputes over restrictions placed on defense-related AI systems. So April's safety conversation focused heavily on what powerful models might be capable of doing. Section 4. May changed the question. By May, the focus had changed significantly. The AI market had not stopped expanding, but attention shifted towards the controls needed to manage what had already been created and deployed. Governance became the dominant theme. And importantly, governance was no longer being discussed simply as a set of ethical principles or policy statements. It was becoming operational at a significant scale. Organizations were increasingly expected to provide evidence of testing, auditability, traceability, monitoring, supplier accountability, lifecycle controls, human oversight, and escalation procedures. The question was no longer whether an organization had an AI policy. The question was whether it could prove that its AI systems were being managed properly. Section 5. Procurement became a central issue. One of May's strongest themes was the changing nature of AI procurement. In the UK public sector, government organisations and regulators were increasingly focused on supplier assurance. This meant asking AI suppliers much tougher questions. For example, how was the model tested? What data does it use? Where is that data hosted? Can decisions and outputs be traced? What audit records are available? How are errors identified? What happens when the system fails? Who is responsible? And how can the organisation exit? This represents an important change. AI procurement can no longer be based only on features, license prices, and supplier demonstrations. Governance, transparency, resilience, and accountability now need to be part of the procurement evaluation. Section 6. The competitive battleground changed. During April, technology companies were often compared according to model capability. Which model was smartest? Which was fastest? Which could reason most effectively? By May, the competitive battleground was beginning to shift. Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, and other platform providers were increasingly competing on governance tooling. That includes features such as administrator controls, access management, audit logs, and data protection, usage monitoring, compliance support, model evaluation, and risk controls. This suggests that the most successful enterprise AI platforms may not simply be the ones with the best model. They may be the ones that organizations feel safest deploying. Section 7. AI assurance is becoming an industry. May also suggested that AI assurance is developing into a market category of its own. In other words, organizations may increasingly need independent specialists to test and verify AI systems. This could include model evaluation, risk assessment, compliance review, and algorithmic auditing, supplier assurance, bias testing, security testing, and operational monitoring. The direction of travel is clear. Organizations will not always be able to rely on an AI supplier simply saying that its own system is safe. Independent evidence may become necessary. That creates opportunities for new professional services, assurance companies, auditors, and governance specialists. Section 8. The workforce story also changed. The workforce conversation changed noticeably between April and May. In April, the emphasis was on disruption. Job cuts, automation anxiety, and public concern featured regularly. By May, the discussion had shifted towards workforce adaptation. The focus became the growing shortage of people with skills in AI governance, assurance, data management, and compliance, operational risk, supplier management, and service ownership. One study referenced in the May coverage suggested that 76% of organizations now had a chief AI officer, compared with only 26% in 2025. Whether every organization needs that exact title is debatable. But the wider point is clear. AI is creating demand for people who can manage and govern it, not just people who can build it. Section 9. Sovereign. AI remained important. One theme continued strongly across both months: sovereign AI infrastructure. Governments and regulated organizations are increasingly concerned about where their AI systems operate and where their data is stored. This includes questions such as which countries' laws apply. Can sensitive data leave the region? Is the organization dependent on one cloud provider? Could access be interrupted? Is it operationally separate? In April, sovereign AI was closely linked to geopolitical competition. In May, it became more closely linked to procurement, resilience, data residency, and operational risk. The subject remained the same, but the organizational concern became much more practical. Section 10. What this means for the UK public sector. For the UK public sector, the message from May is particularly important. AI systems are likely to face stronger expectations around procurement transparency, accountability, and assurance. Auditability, information governance, human oversight, and service management. Public bodies should not treat AI as a normal software purchase with a few additional security questions. AI may influence decisions, generate content, automate processes, and interact with citizens. That means it should be treated as a controlled service capability. Procurement, legal, cybersecurity, data protection, service management, and program governance all need to be involved. Section 11. What this means for higher education. Higher education institutions face a similarly complex challenge. Universities are already using AI across teaching, assessment, student support, administration, and research. This includes recruitment and marketing. But AI adoption can easily become fragmented. One faculty may use one platform, another department may use something entirely different. Individual staff may adopt tools without central approval or governance. The result can be inconsistent data handling, duplicated costs, and unclear accountability. Universities therefore need institution-wide AI governance, supported by practical procurement and assurance processes. Section 12. What this means for enterprise. For private sector organizations, the lesson is equally clear. AI advantage will not come simply from buying access to the most powerful model. Many organizations will have access to similar technologies. The real difference will come from how effectively they can integrate AI into operations, manage data, redesign workflows, and train employees, control suppliers, monitor performance, demonstrate business value, and manage risk. Governance should not be seen as something that slows innovation down. Good governance is what allows successful AI programs to scale safely. So what changed between April and May 2026? April was outward-looking. It focused on global competition, enormous investments, and disruption. May was inward-looking. It focused on how organizations should control, procure, assure, and operate AI. April asked, what is happening in AI? May asked, how do we govern what is happening? That is the clearest sign yet that AI is moving into a more mature phase. The next stage will not be defined only by smarter models. It will be defined by whether organizations can use those models responsibly, securely, and effectively. What is your organization focusing on at the moment? Are you still experimenting with AI tools, or have governance, assurance, and procurement already become major concerns? Let me know in the comments. And for more practical updates on AI, project management, governance, the UK public sector, and enterprise technology, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next analytical update.